Choose one thing that you want to be known for, and then focus on making yourself an expert in that area. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Own Your Lane. This is the best place for ambitious people who are taking charge of their lives, making that impact, making that money, and living fulfilling lives. I hope you're doing well today. I'm so excited to get on here. The second week, is it the second week? Okay, in January 2021. I'm so excited, really. I love new beginnings, so I love January and the promises it holds, and a chance to just start afresh and build a whole plan for a new year. So that's exciting for me. And today I'm going to talk about one thing that I'm going to zoom in for me this year. It's my lesson. So I'm going to share my lesson with you, which is focus. The power of focus. And I find that this is one of the most challenging things I've had to do. You know how executing an idea is challenging, you know how starting something is challenging. Those things are not really that hard for me. They might be a little challenging, but what is most challenging for me is sticking with the idea past the excitement. So when you start a new thing, there's this adrenaline that happens, and then you're doing new things, new challenges, and then it gets to a place where, okay, now you get it. Now you need to repeat the right things. So if it is waking up, work on it, sleep. Waking up, working on it, like it's predictable now. You just have to keep doing the right things. You keep doing the right things over and over. It's now predictable. That is where the hard thing comes for me, and that's where the power of focus has to be. I don't know if this is a challenge for you. Let me know in the comments or DM me on the social. There's a link in the description where it gets you to my social media. Let me know if this is a challenge for you. I was looking back and thinking, what can I do better? And even in my prayer times, I'd get the same direction, like focus, the power of focus. I'd look at these different scriptures and the same story would be focus for me. And so I was like, okay, let's look into this focus. Why is it hard for people to focus, especially me to focus? So I looked at people who have succeeded in the Bible and also just generally in the world. These people are known for one thing. And let me say Jeff Bezos. If I mention that name, you think Amazon, right? He has expanded Amazon. I'm sure he has other investments elsewhere, but Amazon comes up. If I say Strive Masiyiwa, you have Econet in mind. He has so many other investments, he's expanding, but then you have that one thing in mind. If I say Joseph in the Bible, you have the Prime Minister tagline to remember him by. If I say Daniel, like everybody has to be known for that one thing. And it doesn't mean that you will do that one thing the rest of your life, but that will be the one thing that breaks you through. Okay, so there are some soccer players who are now great entrepreneurs, but they made their name as soccer players. They didn't start playing soccer and entrepreneuring at the same time, building both at the same time, and which is a challenge in an environment like ours where we have a lot of information and a lot of shiny objects. When I say shiny objects, I'm thinking where you have all these reels, let's say social media and everything. Everybody's showing you the highlights, and they're showing you how this is amazing, how farming is amazing, how investment here is amazing, how doing this is amazing. You make fast cash here, and therefore there's so much going on. You think I should do all that, when in actual sense you have to go back to you and see, what am I here for, and what can I do well? If you can do 20 things well and you're going to build 20 things at the same time, you're going to have a tough time building. You might do it, but it'll take you longer than necessary. The better way to do it is to say, okay, I can do 20 things well, but what one thing do I really, really, really love and can commit to? Which one is the low-hanging fruit that I can invest in, get better at, become an expert in, and then cultivate that so much so that it breaks me through, so that the other 19 things that I abandoned, I don't have to start from scratch. Okay, I can then start with enough capital, with enough influence, experience, connections, because I focused on one thing that then opened the door for the other things. Makes sense, doesn't it? But on the ground, it's really so hard. It is really so hard. It's one of the things that have slowed my growth as an entrepreneur. Because even when I was running my farm full time, what would happen there is I would look at various crops and they would all be exciting. I would do projections financially and they would all be exciting to me. And so I would grow like 12 crops. 12 crops for a person who's just starting is a little too much. And then you're learning all these 12 crops, and then you have issues to understand about each crop, because each crop has its own ecosystem, has its own pests, has its own challenges. And you're learning at so many levels, different crops in different groups. It's not possible for one person to do that. You could, but it slows you down, it will stress you up. And in the end, I would say farming is stressful. When in actual sense, it wasn't farming that was stressful. I just didn't focus. The people who were succeeding in farming, though, were the people who decided, you know what, I'm going to rear chickens. I find them interesting, and I find that they're profitable. I'm going to do that. So in the first year, they do it, they make a loss. In the second year, they break even. In the third year, they break even again. But they're getting better at that one thing. And when they do so well that they are profitable, now they can then start saying, I'm interested in lettuce too. I'm interested in piggery. I'm interested in what other thing they can be interested in. You get it? And so that was something that I never saw when I was in it. I could hear it. I could hear that you need to focus, but I always felt like I'm losing out and I'm losing income if I focus on one thing. Because I thought, well, if I grow 12 crops, that's like 12 income streams. But it doesn't work that way. Because when you grow 12 crops, you're having 12 different problems, 12 different projects. At the same time, the revenue streams don't even happen. So you end up with zero. But in your head, you're like 12 revenue streams. Whereas when you focus on one, you might feel like you've missed out on 11 income streams, when in actual sense, you are cultivating that one income stream and you see profit and traction with that. And when you have enough traction and you understand it, it can then sponsor the other crops as well and give you peace. And give you a steady income, and steady progress, steady growth. Another challenge to focus is comparison. Okay, so you might be in your field and there are people who are amazing in that field, or maybe other fields, and you feel like maybe I should do that, or I should be like them. See, so you forget your strengths, you forget your motivation, you forget what you're capable of, and you start imitating. When you imitate, you are pretending, right? You're pretending to be somebody else. And therefore, you can't beat the actual person. You can't compete with the actual person who is what you're imitating. Therefore, you're missing out on the strength and the point of view you could bring to the same field or to the same subject. And therefore, you're missing out on your strength that could have helped you make progress in that area. So, for example, I am an accountant. And I'm sitting in this office with another accountant who is good at analytics. And I'm thinking I should be like them, but I'm failing to catch up. But I'm good with people and with presentations. So if I focus on what I'm good at and bring that to my accounting field, you will find that I will appeal to certain people within the same industry who will then say, we want her because in our type of accounting, we need somebody who can relate to people. And the other competitor who is good at analytics will appeal to other people who says, no, we don't want a person who interacts with people. We just want somebody who can just get down there and analyze and give us the numbers right. You see? So you bring an edge to your field, but your edge will be dialed down if you compare. Your edge will be lost. You meet some people and you ask them, what are your strengths? They'll struggle to mention their strengths, but ask them their weaknesses. They can list them down, all of them. Because they're seeing what there is lacking by comparing. They're seeing what they could be by comparing. And therefore, they're missing out on what they truly are. I know that because I was in that space for so long. Being an accountant who is very extroverted, who is very people-person oriented, I used to struggle with that. I used to think my tendencies to connect with people were blocking my progress. I used to think, if only I can be like my colleagues who can stay on their desk and just focus for hours, because I don't do that. I can't do that. When I'm on my desk, give me 30 minutes to focus and let me move around, connect with people, come back, 30 minutes. I'll get a lot done. But I'm not going to just sit there and stare at numbers all day. That doesn't work. And I used to think my personality is blocking my way. I need to tame it. I need to tone it down so that I can progress. When in actual sense, my gifts were interacting with people. I could then connect with my clients using my people skills, know their needs and why they need these books that I'm working on, and then maybe customize the books better and maybe present to them in a way that they understand and they're excited about finances, because really most people were not excited. Most of the people were bored by the presentations we were making. I would have used my vibrant personality to make the presentations appealing to people. I would have used my people skills to get what they're struggling with and then incorporate them in my reports. I could have done that. But because I was so focused on what the other people were doing, I couldn't cultivate my gifts and my edge in that field. Is that your situation too? Because you bring something to the table. But if you focus on the grass on the other side, you don't have time to tend the grass on your side. And you'll be surprised that the people who are looking at your grass from the distance, they're also thinking, wow, that person is amazing. Whereas you're looking at them and thinking, wow, that person is amazing. So when you take time to look down and focus on your strength and look within and see, what am I good at? How can I get better? How can I learn to be better? You'll be surprised how then this amount of focus will get you forward wherever you are. Another thing that blocks focus is the inability to be disciplined. I know it sounds crazy because focus is discipline, but hear me out. When you are focused, you can then get more things done, right? You can learn about something. So most of us want to progress in a certain field. If we learn more about the field, if we learn about people who have gone before us in that field and understand their reasoning and do more studies and understand different perspectives of our field, you'll be surprised how far we can go. But the challenge is having the discipline to do the learning and to see the learning through. So most people don't learn after learning. So most people don't do any extra learning after the official learning. I used to say that a lot after I graduated with my accounting degree. I was like, I'm done learning. You know, a person with that attitude where they have no discipline to continually learn on their own, not because they're going to get a certificate, but self-education and having that discipline to get it done will not go any further in their lives. And that lack of focus will block the very progress they're trying to make. So if you're the kind of person who knows that in my field, I have my certificate, I have my degrees, I have all this, but there's still room for me to grow on my own, customize my own learning. Sit down with yourself and say, okay, these are your weak areas. You need to up your game in these areas. You need to learn from this one and this one. Plan meetings to meet somebody to learn from them. Plan YouTube videos, plan podcasts and whatnot, so that you're learning, you're reading blogs, you're cultivating yourself. That is discipline. And that will help you. Because that is also focus. Having that kind of discipline means you're focused enough to notice your gaps and you're focused enough to customize your learning. And then that will bring rewards in your area of influence. So I've talked about three things. The shiny object syndrome that blocks us from focusing, where you're like, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. Comparison that blocks your learning, where you're like, I want to be like that. Why am I not like that? And the third thing is no discipline, where you don't take time enough to focus on you and think, what are the gaps? How can I cushion these gaps? How can I better myself? You see, when we get this down, when we focus on our lane and get this focus and get better at what we're doing, we will be valuable wherever we are placed. And when you're valuable wherever you are, in your office, in your business, in your relationships, in your church, wherever you are, if you are valuable there, you will have the income, you will have the influence. And that's what really leaves a mark in this life. You don't want to just come here and nobody values you. You know, you're quitting your job and nobody cares whether you're quitting or not. You stop going to church and nobody notices anything. That is really living a life that is not significant, and you're designed for so much more. With focus, you will go further with the little. You will make your mark, and it will propel you to greater heights. And the generations that are coming after you, your family, whoever, are going to reap the benefits of your focus. Will you take on this challenge with me to choose the few things that you're going to focus on this year? Like, when I say a few things, maybe I think it's 6 things or whatever. But I'm thinking, what is the one thing that you're known for? What is the one thing that you are intentionally setting yourself up to be known for? It can be excellence in your office. It can be the way you do your accounts at work, your reports. It can be your business, that specific business. It can be what you talk about, your preaching. It can be the friendships you make, whatever it is. Choose one thing that you want to be known for, and then focus on making yourself an expert in that area. You will see rewards faster. You will propel yourself forward. You will make meaningful connections that will even help with the other goals that you have as you focus on this one. Let's do that for the next quarter. Focus, focus, focus. It will move us forward and we'll reap the benefits. I hope this was helpful for you. If you need further help understanding your purpose, please. If you need further help understanding your, if you need If you need further help understanding your purpose, why you exist, and what you want to focus on, there are some core resources in the description. Check them out. And if you want to talk with me, ask some questions, some comments, do let me know by getting in touch on social media. My name is Mavis Kanjaza. I'm all over the main social medias. I love to connect, but also please comment, like, subscribe, and share so that we can continue to grow together and elevate life in 2021. I hope to see you soon. We have a new video every Tuesday, so that's always exciting for me to connect and keep bringing you amazing content. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.